Det finns en kille som jag har följt i 2 år på YouTube. Han började 2019, hösten. Han fick frågan, vad kan vi göra för alla som all negativ media som sprids om Tesla och det här med FADS som vi pratar om. Och då sa de väl att hjälp till att sprida den rätta nyheten. Vad som egentligen gäller på alla de här en elbilsbrand. Oj, men hur många bensinbilar brinner. Alltså sådana grejer som är så upphaussade som man blir arg inombords. Så att han startade den här 2019, oktober någon gång, september-oktober. Och andra eller tredje filmen så bara tog enorm skruv. Så han kände, oj, det här måste vi göra lite bättre. Han har idag 8,1 miljoner träffar, eller 8,1 miljoner visningar på YouTube. Och han har en följarskara av ungefär 55 000 människor. Han snackar vision. Han har väldigt bra storytelling. Han är helt grym enligt min mening. Han är värd att lyssna på. Han driver Best in Tesla YouTube-kanalen. Han heter Lars Strandridder. Välkommen! Hi, it's Lars. Now you're going to talk a little bit about Tesla and Elon Musk. Your stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hope you are having a wonderful day. Sorry I couldn't be there, but unfortunately, I am on a road trip myself, on holiday with my family, in my Tesla around Europe. So, and I just got in. We missed a ferry today, so I was planned to be here a couple hours before, but I literally just parked the Tesla 5 minutes ago. So if I look a little out of breath and sweaty, that's why. But I thought I would start off with talking a little bit about the man behind all of this. Not Nicholas that is doing this, but the grandmaster of it all, Elon Musk and all his companies that started this, and why I got into all this Tesla and why I started a YouTube channel trying to help about this company fighting all the news there was about electric cars, but Tesla in general. Because I think it's also a very cool thing that it's a guy like Elon Musk that is actually running all these companies, because as you might have seen, now there's flood in Germany and Holland and Austria and so on, and Tesla, they open up free supercharger to everybody. When there was a hurricane in Haiti some years ago, they sent down power walls, solar panels and so on, start to help getting renewable energy back on so they can get some electricity back. So I think in general, I just think Elon Musk has a good heart, if you can say that. He seems very emotional when he's speaking about his companies and the hard time they have gone through. But I also believe that these companies will become very, very huge, just like, Apple. And with that kind of companies, there comes a lot of, you get a lot of power. And have a man like Elon Musk to run these companies, I think is a very good thing, because I think Tesla in general will become the biggest automaker in the world. I'm not going to talk too much about that. There's other guys through the day that's going to be talking more about that, but I'll be talking about the car, and definitely the car as a road trip in my speech after this. But I do believe that Tesla can become one of the biggest automaker in the world, also thanks to full self-driving and so on. But also SpaceX, the company that Elon Musk is running, is, in my view, the biggest space industry company that is right now. Last year, SpaceX flew up half of all cargo to space. So that was quite amazing. And Elon Musk believes that that's going to be like 80% this year. And the whole idea of SpaceX is to make humans multiplanetary, to make sure we don't go extinct. And Tesla's mission is to accelerate our transition to sustainable energy. So it's all very good missions. And then, of course, Elon Musk also have some other companies that may not be so known. You probably heard of him, but the Boring Company, where Elon is trying to help fix the traffic, the soul-destroying traffic in our big cities by digging roads underneath the cities. And that's right now we have the Tesla Loop over at the Las Vegas Loop over in Las Vegas, where hundreds of Teslas is driving in right now, demonstrating this concept, and a very good PR for Tesla. They're getting a lot of people into to Teslas to try them out and see the cars. So that's really cool, and I think that could be very successful. We see Fort Lauderdale and Miami wanna make tunnels as well, and we can get these Boring Company going. And then of course he has one more company that's called Neuralink, and that's just beyond imagination. If you think SpaceX is sci-fi and what they're doing, want to send people to the moon and Mars, but Neuralink want to implant chips into our brains. First of all, it's going to help a lot of people with diseases. People with no limbs can get an robotic arm and move it with their minds. We have already seen them have a monkey sit and play video games with its mind, with this chip implant that you can't even see anything. There's no wires or nothing. It's just one chip implanted in the brain. So what this can do, I don't even have the imagination to think about. But what Elon's end game kind of is here with this company is, of course, making sure that we don't get overtaken by artificial intelligence. He did also start a company called OpenAI, but he stepped down from that because it interfered too much with his AI team at Tesla that is making the full self-driving system, the neural network that they're training there to drive the cars. So he stepped down from that, but that's still a company that Elon kind of kickstarted because he also is a bit afraid of artificial intelligence because it's going to be so much more clever than you and I. So what that's going to do or what it's going to think, we simply don't know. So it's when we invent this, it's going to be very tough to you can't just switch it off. Many have said it's going to be the last thing that we humans invent, both in good and bad terms, but maybe in the good terms it is that these artificial intelligence would be able to invent anything that we can invent just better. And the whole point of Neuralink is that to emerge us with artificial intelligence so we don't get left behind. Because if these artificial intelligence just get smarter and smarter and is an exponential growth because they just become so smart and have access to everything on the internet and know everything, we kind of become the house cat of our little planet here, and we will become a very unintelligent species compared to artificial intelligence. So that is Elon's big worry, that we're going to be left in the dust by artificial intelligence. So he want to build this Neuralink as well and merge us with artificial intelligence, and that's just kind of beyond belief what that's going to change in our world, I think, and also help people with different diseases and so on. So that's really, really cool. And again, I think all of these 4 companies that he's running right now could become very, very big companies. They are kind of innovative and disruptive in every industry they are in. So they could all become very, very powerful companies. So again, I'm glad it's a good guy like Elon Musk. I hope he's a good guy. I haven't met the guy, but he seems like a very, very good guy that want to do the right thing. He always thinks of the right thing. He doesn't even take a salary from Tesla. He doesn't get paid. He get paid by shares. So he is on paper one of the richest guys on the planet, but he sold everything he owned and just live in a $50,000 house right now, because he doesn't want all this material thing. He's just in here for the mission, for helping Tesla to succeed, helping SpaceX to succeed. He hasn't have holiday break like I'm on right now for the last decade, I think. So he's doing a lot of great stuff with some very interesting companies. And of course, Tesla was the company that I started being very interested in early on and followed them for a while. And then in 2019, after Q2, they had some questions from the shareholders about how can we fight all this FUD news and disinformation. And Elon said it was the biggest disinformation campaign he has ever witnessed. As Nicholas also told you, that's when I started my YouTube channel because they kind of just said, go out, spread the word. What Nicholas is doing here today, all you guys gathered here talking about Teslas and electric cars. But many people, every time I met someone, I have just bought my Tesla back then in June 2019, and every time I was at a party, it was I was just driving around with people in my Tesla. Not much party for me at that point, because everybody wanted to try the Tesla out, but everybody had kind of wrong information about car. You have to change the battery all the time, and that would cost 250,000 kroners and so on. So there was just so much disinformation about the car, and you have to charge all the time, and it would take 8 hours to charge the car. And so I answered a lot of these questions at that point about Tesla and electric cars in general. People were just very uninformed about electric cars. So I watched some other guys called Zach and Jesse that has a YouTube channel called Now You Know. And they actually said after the earnings call, that is what we are doing, and you can do that as well. So I thought, well, I could try to do that and try to help out Tesla that way, because they are not doing advertising and they don't want to spend money on that. So they didn't come up with any ideas or anything else than go out, spread the word. So that was kind of what I did and why I started my little YouTube channel. I just jumped into it, didn't know much about it, just tried to put up the first video, didn't think anybody would want to see that. And the second video I posted got 42,000 views in a couple of days, and I was like, whoa, I better up my game a little bit and learn a bit more how to do all this stuff and really dive into all the knowledge and news coming out with Tesla and become an expert to share all this information. Also because you get a lot of questions the other way when you post videos like this. So that was kind of how I got started in this game of wanted to help people learn about electric cars and especially want to help Tesla fight all the FUD they had experienced, especially back then in 2019 and 18 and the years before. There was just so much fuss against Tesla, especially short sellers and haters against Tesla, because they are disrupting a very big industry. So of course there's going to be a lot of people trying to stop them from what they're doing. I don't believe we would have all the great electric cars out now from all the other companies if it weren't for Tesla that have been pushing so hard. So I think their mission of accelerating the world to sustainable energy with Tesla has already succeeded. It has already pushed everybody to make electric cars, and everybody want to catch up to Tesla. That's kind of every time Volkswagen is announcing something, it's always about want to catch up to Tesla. So I think there's no doubt in the industry that Tesla is leading this race and they are the ones to catch. But I think they are accelerating faster than anybody else. So I don't think they can be caught. But that's kind of how I got into it and why I share my knowledge and share news about all these companies that Elon Musk is running, because I think they generally want to do good stuff, and their mission is to help the human race in many different kinds and in very big ways, like with SpaceX and so on. So that's why I got into this game and why I started my little channel, and why we're probably all sitting here, because we enjoy the Tesla car. So yeah.
Yes, Lars, but how do you came in contact with Tesla for the first time, and why? Some years ago, many years before 2019?
Yeah, I think it was just about 2015, 2016, I think it was around the Model X when that came out, I started realizing what Tesla was. I haven't heard about it before. I heard people talking about when they saw a Tesla, because it was so rare to see a Tesla in Denmark at that point. So people were like, oh, that's a Tesla. And I was like, what is a Tesla? But then in 2015, I saw the reveal of the Model X and thought, man, that was a cool, different car. And if they could do all this with electricity, that was just so cool. So that's when I really started to follow Tesla and dive into Tesla. And then it all accelerated when they showed the Model 3 and so on.
Anyone have some small questions to Lars now? Because he gonna talks more about the car in just a minute. So it's gonna be more questions if you have more questions later. No one? Okay, I think you can go change subject to the car if you want.
Yeah, I definitely want to. So is everybody here driving a Tesla? Can you? I can see your hand. Raise a hand. Are you all driving Teslas? That's a lot of hands. Thank you. Oh, great. It is, of course, Tesla meet, so I did expect that a lot of people here would be driving Tesla. But I think it's a wonderful car, and you probably agree. And I think that what Tesla has succeeded with here is a big deal. And I think that's part of the whole story why it's so interesting to follow Tesla, because they have done something that no automaker have done in like 100 years in the US. Started a new car company, first of all, and especially for it being electric. That is not something that has been done a lot. So very impressive that they got this going and have been fighting kind of uphill battle ever since 2008 when they came out with the Roadster. They got a lot of hate from all the other automakers that laughed at Tesla. But I don't think they're laughing so much anymore. And I think in the beginning, there was a lot of frustrations and a lot of information about Tesla that was true about the build quality, and if you did have to change the battery in the first Model S, it would probably cost about 200,000 Danish crowns. But that was, almost 10 years ago. So now it's come way down. But some of these things just sticks with the company for a long time, as Steve Jobs also talked about many years ago. The media and people in general, they have lag time. So if you have changed, if you guys as persons have changed, it also takes a lot of time for your family, especially your sisters and your mom and dad, to kind of acknowledge that you have done something and changed. And the same thing goes for companies. So people still believe that Tesla has really badly built cars. But if you're all driving pretty new Teslas, and you're here in Scandinavia, so maybe most of you are driving new Teslas, unless you have some old Model S's or something. But the build quality in the beginning was not good. But as we have seen, even the car experts, Sandy Monroe, didn't really like the Tesla Model 3 when it came out. He thought it was kind of ridiculous that they put that car on the street with these uneven panel gaps and all this kind of stuff, and bad paint job and so on. But Tesla is constantly innovating on these cars and the way they build. And we now see the refreshed Model 3 and the Model Y. Sandy Monroe has also got his hands on that one and ripped them apart. And now he's very pleased with the build quality, no problems inside. And there's no more panel gaps on the Model Y, and the paint job is perfect. As Sandy said, is as good as anything out of Europe. And it handles like a BMW, just faster. So that was some good words from Sandy about the Teslas and the build quality. And I think the new Tesla Model S Plaid that just came out, the only reviews we have seen about it has been that the build quality is unreal. And we all know about, specs of the car. It's the fastest production car ever made. So this is just amazing how far Tesla has come and how fast they're changing the car. That is also quite amazing because, like again, Sandy Munro, he had some suggestions for Tesla with the Model 3, and 3 months later they have implemented, I believe it was 13 or 14 different changes to the car. That is just on. Andy Monroe, I use him a lot because he is kind of the car expert I go to see if the build quality of electric vehicles are good. And they just ripped apart the Ford Mach-E, that from the outside and as a customer, you would probably just feel that this is a great electric car. But the inside, I think Tesla has already exceeded what the build quality is in a Ford. He showed the thermal system in the car. I don't know if you've seen this one, it was just last week, but he showed that the hoses inside this thermal system, and only the thermal system, there was 3 times as much hoses, and there was 3 times as much parts in this one, and the liquid in the cooling system was 22 kilos for the Mach-E compared to 9 kilos in the Tesla Model Y. So this was just an insane amount of difference in the same component in the car. And we also know about the battery technology they in front of that as well. And now they're starting to build the rear and front end under with these big casting machines. And that's going to make the fit and finish even better, because now they don't have to weld these almost 80 pieces together to one piece and put that in the car. Now they just have one piece that is perfect every time and just fit in the car and can be made a lot faster. They save like 300 robots for the rear end only and 300 robots for the front end. So it's a really big deal what they're doing here. And nobody else is copying this right now. And also because Tesla has invented the whole thing about the alloy that they use for this process. But I think this is, again, why Tesla is accelerating and is going to produce a lot more cars than people think is possible, because they are innovating in the way the car is built. And the other guys is kind of catching up now. They haven't really caught up yet in the terms of range and charging speed and so on. Maybe one have a really good range, or one have some, like the Porsche, that has a really good charging speed. So there's not one car that caught up to the Tesla Model 3, in my opinion, so far in specs. But all the other legacy automakers are kind of focusing on making an electric car. And I think that's where Tesla has a different focus, because in my opinion, Tesla is kind of a software company and a tech company that also makes cars. So what Tesla has is software on wheels, or computer on wheels. And what the other guys has is an electric car. If you go into the ID4, I test drove that as well, it's a great car. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a normal car. It just runs on electricity. That's pretty much the difference. So these legacy automakers have been focusing a lot on getting this battery platform ready for these electronic cars and making electronic cars, but not focusing very much on the software side of the business. And that is also showing that they can't make software updates yet. They claim they can, but every time there's a software issue, they have to recall it, just like we're seeing with the Porsche right now. They had some software issues, but they couldn't make a software update to fix it. They had to recall it and so on. We see with many of the others, Volkswagen says it's only for minor software updates. Where Tesla, when they came out with the Tesla Model 3, the NHTSA, they didn't like the braking of the car. It was not good enough. And Tesla made an over-the-air update and made the car brake better. That's just real to me, that they can do that with a software update, and shows a bit of how integrated the whole car is, that they can control everything with software. And I think if you understand the difference there, that the other guys are making electric cars and Tesla is making a computer on wheels, very good at software. And I think in 5 years' time, this is all that matters. Everybody's going to have great electric cars in 5 years' time that have the range and the charging speed. and we're going to have full self-driving cars at some point. Debate on when, but we will have it at some point. And that point, everything is going to be about software, and I think that's where Tesla is heading. And the other guys are still focusing on just making an electric car, because they probably don't think the car market is going to change that much. But we're just going to switch from gasoline to electricity, and not focusing too hard on the software part. And I think it's one of the main benefits of having a Tesla. You can probably recognize this, so that your car gets better over time. I got my Tesla Model 3 long range in June 2019, and the amount of improvement my car has got ever since that point is just amazing. My car is much better now, with much better sensory mode, and it got 5% more peak power, 20% more charging speed, and so on and so on. So much stuff. I actually made a video about this once, and I had to write down everything I could remember of software updates I got, and it was 2 pages just with the great new features that my car got. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I'm sticking with Tesla for now, because they are just very good value for money. And right now I'm on a road trip with my family around Europe, and it has just been an absolutely joy driving a Tesla around Europe. We have been down through Germany, into Austria, down in Slovenia, Croatia, and we have just now reached Venice half an hour ago. And everywhere is just Tesla chargers, and we have only been using Tesla chargers so far. One other charger than Tesla, but that was because that was at the hotel we were staying at in Croatia. Other chargers has only been Teslas, because they are so well spread out. And I think the Tesla in general, it doesn't really matter which Tesla you guys own, and if you have been on a road trip or not. But I think the Tesla Model 3s, the Teslas, is just some of the best road trip cars on the planet right now, because my Tesla Model 3, I definitely think it has the range, because we have to stop as a family much more often than the Tesla does. It can go for 3 hours or 3.5 hours before it has to charge. Me and my family can't go that far. We stop every 2 hours, or else just get too tough sitting in the car for so many hours, and the children have to pee, and my wife too. And so I think that the range is good enough, and the charging is very, very fast. We plug it in, we go to go to the toilet and grab a cup of coffee and a snack, and maybe there's a playground for the kids. We spend 5 minutes there, and we go back to the car. And 250 kilowatt charger is pretty common down the big highway in Europe. So yeah, it's just we haven't really waited on the charging to be done, because we have gone into restroom and 15 minutes when we're ready to go, because we stopped so often compared to what the Tesla has to. So we just top it up all the time when we're going into restrooms, and we haven't waited. Now we have driven 2,500 kilometers now. We haven't waited for the car to charge even once, because we planned it with lunch or whatever and bathroom breaks. So I think the charging is good enough and it's very, very good for Tesla's users anyway. There is some new chargers coming along, also 350 kilowatt chargers, so that's cool. But mostly we see, there's one stall and it's 50 kilowatt chargers, where every time we go to a Tesla stall, it's 10 or 20 stalls, and they're 250 or at least 150 or 120. So that's very good. And then, of course, we have stayed at 4 hotels now, and 3 of these hotels, and we haven't even planned for it, but 3 of these hotels, also the one we're staying at now, has charging for electric cars. So that's just makes it so easy. We haven't been, stopping at chargers for the last 2 days road trip. So because the car is just full, and we're only going like 300 kilometers a day. So that's very convenient as well. And then the full self-driving I have in my car, I think is just so stress-free, driving the car down the highways and the main roads, as long as they are well marked main roads. You can easily put the full self-driving on, and it drives for you. It just makes it so much less stressful to drive the car for so many hours, and you can also enjoy the scenery a lot more with full self-driving. And then you, of course, feel very safe with the car with the great software it has, because you have sensory mode that takes care of your car, but you can also put, the pin to drive. I never used that before, but I used it here on a road trip around Europe. So we have pin to drive, so nobody can just steal the key and go for a drive. They have to know our pin as well. We have pin for the glove box as well, so all our passport and money are locked in there and safely. So that's really, really cool on a road trip as well. And then at the hotels, there are handicap places just next to the door, and next to that there is the electric charging parking lots as well. So it's really, you feel really privileged when you're driving an electric car around Europe with these hotels. So that's really, really cool. So I don't think range anxiety exists in a Tesla, also because the navigation system is just so brilliant. You just put in your destination and it shows you where to go, when to charge, and then you can of course see on the maps, okay, we don't want to go that far, we're going to take this charge to just a couple of stops before. It just makes it so easy, and we haven't had one time with range anxiety. It just doesn't exist anymore with a Tesla that can go this far and has so many charging opportunities and can charge this fast, and with this great software in the car. And I think we drove through the mountains of Austria, and I think it's just a perfect car for the mountains. You have all the horsepowers in the world. You never have to find just the right gear when you're turning that very steep corner. You always have the power right there at your foot. You don't have to worry about it. It's just very good fun driving up and down these mountain roads. And when you're going down, you get regenerated braking, and you get a couple of percentage back on your battery. You can't do that with your ICE car. So I really think that is an amazing car to drive around in the mountains. Well, you of course in Sweden, you probably already know this, but I'm from Denmark. It's very flat, so I never gained anything back in the battery in Denmark. But you probably have experienced that as well. And then of course the climate control, I think, is just wonderful, that you can leave it on when you go in for a 15-minute break. When you come out, the car is really nice and cool. Or if you're the next day, you want to go, you can just 15 minutes before start the car, and it's cool and ready to go. And of course, the last thing is that you're driving some of the safest cars in the world. And when we are driving down here so many kilometers with my family and my two small children, it is so nice that it's in the safest car in the world.
Thank you, Lars. That was inspiring. Do anyone have some questions to Lars? I have one. What's the next car you're gonna get?
Oh, yeah. Difficult question, actually, because I think the Model Y that's coming out of Giga Berlin is going to be a very exciting car because of the new way they have built it with the new batteries and so on. But I think the dream car would be the Plaid Model S.
Isn't it for
just
all?
To have a what?
Isn't it that for all of us, a Plaid? Is it the dream car?
Yeah, Plaid Model S.
Yeah.
Okay. If I can save enough money for it.
Yeah, that's a pretty little thing, just with the money thing. Okay, here we have the people here, audience, is mainly stockholders or Tesla owners, or both. We have perhaps some regular enthusiasts, but I think everyone here is quite agreed that Tesla is a great car, and Elon Musk is a great guy who makes lots of good things in the world, and that's why we are met here. We have about I think we have the person who driven the longest here is 1,500 kilometers, I think, to be here, and that's 1,300. 1,300, yes, okay.
Okay.
No, to be here. Yes, but to be here today. Yes, 1,500. Yes.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Yeah. So by that, we thank you, Lars, and have
Welcome.
a pleasant vacation in your Model 3.
Thank
and
you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Talk to you later. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care.